tentacles of a murder investigation can be far-reaching, and the day after the killings they alighted on a rather sensitive nerve the parents of Leah Betts. Detectives descended on the couple's Latchington home to grill Paul and Janet and were soon forensically testing the pair's shotguns, clothes, even taking fingerprints. In the book The Party's Over, Living Without Janet, Janet said, "You can imagine my horror when the police arrived. Needless to say, it was not a very pleasant experience. Although they assured us from the very outset, they were sure we were not connected with the murders in any way. Initially, Paul found it quite amusing. 'This is just my luck,' he said. 'I can imagine Leah up there in heaven giggling her head off for all this.' But then he realised just how serious the situation was. Paul and I were both interviewed as though we were suspects. We were separated. Paul was taken into the dining room with one officer, and I remained in the lounge with the other. The pair had taken the scenic route back from Leah's grave on the day of the shootings, passing close by to the scene of the murders. Later that day, Paul, who was labelled the dead men's scum, had driven through the area again, testing out his ladder car's four-wheel drive on the snowy ground. Another reason police were keen to talk to them was the couple's guns were used for clay pigeon shooting. The three men were shot with cartridges popular with people who follow the sport. Talking about the fingerprinting process, Janet said, "It was a strange feeling. I can understand how easy it is to become upset under these circumstances." While she was being interviewed, an officer asked Janet if she and Paul could verify their movements at the time of the killings. Luckily, they were being filmed by a TV crew and named the reporter who interviewed them. Detectives did check up on their alibi. The couple were questioned because Leah, a Basildon College student who had a Saturday job in the town, fell into a coma at her 18th birthday party after taking an ecstasy tablet. When she was declared dead 5 days later, it emerged the fatal pill had been brought at Raquel's nightclub in Basildon, where Tony Tucker ran the drug supply. But speaking only weeks ago, Superintendent Ivan Dibley, who led the investigation into the killings, revealed the Betts were never serious suspects. "We work on a process of elimination and had to question everybody who had access to guns. But hypothetically, even if he wanted to do it, how would Mr. Betts have been able to get those three down the lane?" Paul, writing in his diary a year after the killings, recorded his feelings about Tate, Tucker and Rolfe. He wrote, "What makes me mad are the fat cats at the top still running clubs and making money. This vengeful feeling is not Christian. I know, but at the moment whoever shot these three men in Rettendon should be the one getting a medal." Despite being cleared by the police, Mr. Betts said an air of public suspicion continued to surround them for weeks after the killings. In fact, people even approached him and congratulated him for doing a good job. Mr. Betts said, "I was their number one suspect. I had the motive, I had the means, and I had the ability." However, Mr. Betts maintains the killings were too good for the drug peddlers. The way they were killed was too neat for them. They were taken out nicely and very sweetly, but they deserved a long, lingering death. There was an eerie silence from friends and relatives when the three pals were blasted to death in their Range Rover. But as the media devoured the stories of the trio's violent past, one by one their womenfolk came forward to defend them. First to speak out was Pat Tate's mum Marie. The grief-stricken widow said, "My Pat was not the evil monster he's been portrayed as. To me he was a lovely boy. Whatever he may have done, he did not deserve to die like that. Shot to pieces in a Range Rover." Tate's tearful ex-lover Sarah Saunders also insisted he was not all bad. The mother of his 2-year-old son claimed he was just once a lovable rogue. She blamed his violence on drugs given to him in jail. The 28-year-old said, "I still have feelings for him. You can't just switch off." But the man shot dead wasn't the caring man I knew. The drugs Pat took in prison changed his personality completely, and it terrified me. After a 10-year romance, she quit his home as he came out of jail for the last time. Soon the mistress of Tucker was defending her lover too. Tucker had an estranged wife and live-in lover, Anna Whitehead, but he added Donna Garwood to his entourage when he spotted her at Raquel's nightclub in Basildon. They were together for a year and a half until his death, often riding together on their horses, Shannon and Charlie. She claimed, "He showed me what life was all about." Donna was soon apportioning blame too, claiming Tucker would have lived if Pat Tate had not been released from jail. Donna of Basildon said, "If anything went on between them, Pat was involved, because the three of them never did anything without each other." Tucker set up Garwood and Tate's flat while the pal was still in jail. When detectives carried out a series of raids following the death of ecstasy victim Leah Betts, the property was one of the first to be searched. Inside, officers found amphetamines, and Donna was arrested. Lorraine McCall says she has no hate for the killers of her youngest son, Craig Rolfe. She admitted, "I do have a lot of anger, but I can honestly say I don't have any hate in me. I never have." Mrs McCrow of Pitsea heard the pathologist tell the Old Bailey about Rolfe's hideous head wounds. They'd been inflicted by convicted killer Jack Williams, who had fired a shotgun into his head at point blank range. However, medical experts say Rolfe would never have any time to know what was happening. She said, "It was a vicious way they died. Craig didn't deserve it, but when I heard just how quick it was, that did put my mind at rest." Mrs McCrow remained on friendly terms with Williams' mother Pam throughout the trial. She said there was no point in falling out. I would bring her copies of the Echo because she didn't get to see it. I was very close to Craig. He was the youngest, the baby of the family. I saw him near enough every day. As far as I knew, he was working for Tony on the security side. I called him a gopher. Tony supplied security men to the stars, and that's what attracted Craig. He was on a high living that lifestyle. But I don't blame Tony for his death. Pat Tate was responsible. If he hadn't come on the scene, they would still be alive today.